What is a long-arm statute? A long-arm statute is a state law that authorizes that state's courts to exercise personal jurisdiction over out-of-state, non-resident defendants when certain connections, called contacts, exist between the defendant, the forum, and the lawsuit. A long-arm statute is the statutory doorway to the courthouse. In U.S. civil procedure, a court needs both a statutory basis and a constitutional basis to assert power over a defendant. The statute comes first. Does the state's long-arm law reach this defendant for this claim? If yes, the court then asks the constitutional question under the Due Process Clause. Would exercising jurisdiction comply with traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice? Historically, jurisdiction was territorial and formalistic. That shifted in 1945 with International Shoe Co. v. Washington, where the Supreme Court adopted the minimum contacts test. After International Shoe, states began passing long-arm statutes to capture the broader, but still bounded, reach that due process permits. Some states drafted enumerated acts statutes, listing specific hooks like transacting business in the state, committing a tort in the state, owning property there, or contracting to supply goods into the state. New York's CPLR Section 302 is a classic example. Other states, like California, use to-the-limits statutes that extend jurisdiction to the full extent allowed by due process. California Civiling Process Section 410.10. Either way, the statute sets the outer edge of the forum's claim to authority. The Constitution then trims any overreach. How does the constitutional analysis work? In specific jurisdiction cases, the usual long-arm setting, the question is whether the defendant has purposefully established minimum contacts with the forum and whether the plaintiff's claim arises out of or relates to those contacts. Purposeful availment, or purposeful direction, is key. The defendant must have, in some deliberate way, targeted the forum, not simply ended up there by fate or the unilateral act of someone else. Worldwide Volkswagen teaches that foreseeability alone is not enough. It must be foreseeability that flows from the defendant's own conduct. The stream of commerce line of cases, Asahi Nicastro, wrestles with when placing goods in national or global distribution, shows intent to serve a particular state's market. Burger King adds a reasonableness backstop, weighing the burden on the defendant, the forum state's interest, the plaintiff's interest, systemic efficiency, and shared substantive policies. Internet cases add a twist. Many courts use the Zippo sliding scale. Purely passive websites rarely suffice. Interactive sites that conduct business with forum residents more often do. The Calder effects test also appears in intentional tort cases. If a defendant expressly aims conduct at the forum and the brunt of harm is felt there, jurisdiction may be proper. Remember, long-arm statutes govern specific jurisdiction. General jurisdiction, where a defendant can be sued for any claim, usually exists only where a corporate defendant is at home, its place of incorporation or principal place of business. Long-arm provisions don't create general jurisdiction, and mere sales or employees in the state won't usually suffice for that broader power. A few practical examples help. Suppose an Illinois supplier cold emails, contracts with, and ships custom parts monthly to a Texas manufacturer, and a dispute arises from those shipments. Texas's long-arm statute likely covers transacting business, and due process likely permits specific jurisdiction because the dispute relates to those purposeful Texas-directed contacts. By contrast, if a Massachusetts blogger runs a passive site and a Nevada plaintiff sues there for defamation without any Nevada-targeted conduct, Nevada's long-arm statute may not be satisfied and due process likely fails. Curiosities worth knowing. 1. Some federal statutes authorize nationwide service of process, which can bypass the state long-arm by tying jurisdiction to a defendant's U.S.-wide contacts. 2. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 4K generally borrows the forum state's long-arm reach, but it contains special hooks for federal claims. 3. Parties can consent to jurisdiction in advance via forum selection or arbitration clauses, effectively sidestepping long-arm limits. 4. Tag or transient jurisdiction, serving an individual physically present in the forum, remains valid for natural persons, independent of long-arm analysis. Above, you'll find more videos to keep learning law. Remember to leave us a like and subscribe.